Thank you. Thank you to everybody for joining. Like everybody, right? Everybody's excited because this is the day that we get to add people to our team. Recruits that we've been talking to, Zooming with, visiting with for months. And great to see pen go to paper and paper go to fax machines or scanning machines, however we do it now. But a very exciting day. To just finally have the opportunity to talk about these guys that we've been talking to for a long time. This recruiting class that started over Zoom, that started, a lot of us, we started recruiting these guys from our own couches because we weren't even in our own buildings, and got a chance to put together a special class, the highest rated class in the conference, an exciting class with a lot of very, very good football players, a signing class with three more early enrollees, which is a big deal for us. I think a class is going to have an early impact on Stanford football. But as importantly, a class that was recruited amidst a very difficult season for us, which says a lot about Stanford University, the allure of this education here. It says a lot about our coaching staff and our ability to find and recruit these young people. And it says a lot about these young people, that they were able to see that this season was not the direction of our football program, that it was an aberration, that it was something that was difficult for us to deal with, but it is not in our future. And they were able to see the future of Stanford football being as special as the way that I see it, the way that our staff sees it. Obviously, special thanks going out to not only our coaches, but our recruiting staff that had to be unbelievably creative. Mike Eubanks and his staff just were able to present Stanford in such a way that made it enticing before these people were able to visit. And then once they're able to visit, Stanford, I wouldn't say completely sells itself, but I tell people all the time, you can come and have us show you around, or you can just come walk around on your own and meet people on campus, and they'll do as good of a job of selling Stanford as the coaches will. Because pretty much anybody that's on campus, they could be any place else in the world. So excited about this day, excited about this class. We didn't have scholarships for specialists because we are really good where we have those specialists, but every other room on the team got an addition. Every position added one, at least one, and some good ones. So we're extremely excited about where we are. And I'll take my direction from the questions that come. So let's open up for questions.
If you can go ahead and raise your hand through the participant tab. First question will be from Els Boone. Go ahead, Els.
Hey, Coach. Last year, we saw the program's first ever early enrollees come for the spring quarter. And this year, you're going to be able to get guys in for January for winter quarter. How did you guys get the administration to make this further change? And then what were you able to learn from Ari and Jaden's process last year?
Great questions. I'll take the second part first, and absolutely. Ari and Jaden, first and foremost, did an excellent job academically coming in, getting accustomed to the environment, did a great job coming in and participating in spring football. And then even after spring football, having some time to be just students on campus. And they handled it very well. They're very mature. Not only did they do well academically and athletically, did extremely well socially. And both were comfortable in their own shoes and were able to really be assimilated into this great culture. I think their process helped us shape the narrative for how we can do this and do this at a high level here at Stanford. Maybe not do it the way other people are doing it, but do it our way and do it well. I'll say we didn't get the administration to do it. I think what we did was we presented the years of data from around the country, from some other high academic institutions, and seeing how it was done other places. Our provost put together a focus group to look at some things. Then we presented, that focus group presented some things to us. That next group presented to other entities on campus, including professors and said, okay, this is what we would like to do. Is this possible? Is this feasible? Is this something we can do? Is it something that we can do well? And that's one of the things I love about Stanford is that we're not just going to try to do things. If we're going to do something, we're going to try to do it the best way possible. And a lot of voices, a lot of people were involved. And now we have a path. We have a path that everyone is on the same page with, from the administration to the professors to the athletic department to the football program. We're bringing in more people to this campus, not just to the athletic department, but to handle and to help this transition be as smooth as possible, because it's not just football players. There are other sports that are going to be represented in this group as well, to make sure this transition is smooth, to make sure that the educational process starts the right way. So it was a long process. I'm very excited about where it is. So now these young people can come in and get 2 quarters under their belt, winter and spring, even before they get to the summer where the rest of the freshmen come in. So this helps, I think, a lot for those great guys that end up playing great, that maybe have an NFL career waiting on them. They can possibly finish earlier enough to where now our graduation rate doesn't get inhibited, and their process doesn't get inhibited. They can graduate and go after a fall quarter because they've come in and gotten 2 quarters under their belt. So that helps that process. I think it helps just in recruiting, first and foremost. So many recruits out there want to go early and are able to finish early. And since they handle their business academically on the high school side, Stanford should be in a position, which we are now, to take those very good students that are ahead academically in high school. So I think the administration has done a great job working with our athletic department to put together a path so that it's not only possible, but will be very, very beneficial to the student athletes and to our program.
Next question will go over to Troy Clarity. Troy, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, a pretty well-decorated class by all accounts. What's reasonable to expect from these young men come the 2022 season?
That's a great question. We lost some very good players to the draft. We're bringing back a lot of guys, but we're also in a position we always have been, but I think even just more, obviously more playing right now, and we're going to play the best players. We've got some highly skilled individuals coming in as freshmen, and we're not going to shy away from playing true freshmen. We used to say we play true freshmen in every position except quarterback, but now we played them pretty much everywhere. And we're going to be ready for these guys to come in and compete. And we also have a great history here of playing multiple guys. So doesn't have to come in to start, but to be able to come in and help, play special teams, play offense, play defense. But it's going to be very, very competitive. And there will be multiple guys in this class that will come in and compete for playing time early.
Next question will be from Ben Parker. Ben, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, Coach. Just talk about it seems like, a lot of the top guys you got coming in are guys that can really bring it on the pass rush with Bailey and Cooper, et cetera. And just talk about how excited you are of that particular aspect of this class to get guys that are going to be able to really bring the heat in the pass rush for you guys next year.
Yeah, you can see the class, what our priorities were very broad, right? We wanted to recruit guys in every position, but you can also see very pointed, just like you said. I believe our freshman group this past year is going to be really good. Very excited about the guys that we added this year. This guys got a taste of playing football. Aaron Armitage got a sack towards the end of the year. Wilfredo Abar played on and off throughout the year, got a taste of college football. I think those 2 guys are going to be outstanding. And at the same time, we want to bring some more guys in that we think can affect the passer and allow us to be more aggressive on the defensive side without changing the calls. Be aggressive by the guys that we put out there. They can get off the ball, they can get penetration, they can get in the backfield, they can get some TFLs for us in the running game, and get some rushes, some hurries, and some sacks in the passing game. So those 3 guys in particular, absolutely, you put their film on and you see those guys wreaking havoc in the backfield.
We'll go back to Troy.
Four young men up front on the offensive line, part of this card class of 22. What can you tell us about each of those guys and how they potentially fit into what being a member of the Tunnel Workers Union is all about?
Yeah, on the front end, very, very easy to see. When you see these four guys standing next to each other, it's easy to imagine how excited our staff is, how exciting our current and future quarterbacks will be, how excited our current and future running backs will be. These guys are big, they're long, they're athletic, they're versatile. We have multiple guys in this group that could play guard or tackle. But the length and size and athleticism of these guys is rare. And we honestly believe, I mean, all these guys, in my opinion, were underrated. We don't count the stars. We don't worry about where they're rated. We just know what we're looking for. And this class has a chance to be special. They really do. And I think our guys on our team saw it when these guys were here and standing next to them. Yeah, if you kind of close your eyes and didn't really look at their faces, it was hard to see who was on the team. It was hard to see who the recruits were, and that's what we're looking for. And we have a history here of playing really well up front, and we brought in some guys we think that can carry the torch.
Two things that have had a really big impact, it seems, on the calendar of late. The early signing period seems to have moved up a lot of things within the sport. And obviously the transfer portal, a different way for folks to get players. Obviously that might not exactly 100% be a way for Stanford to get guys completely, but the early signing period, the transfer portal, how have those two dynamics kind of affected college football and Stanford as well?
Well, honestly, they're on a collision course, because the early signing period, and it never completely hurt us early on. The early enrollees did, and thankfully we've got a mechanism now to mitigate that issue. We were able to adjust. I think we did a lot more adjusting this past year because of COVID, because of the way to get guys on campus. I think we got a great mechanism right now to do visits in the summer without sacrificing our academic rigor that we need our guys to take and the steps they need to take towards being admitted. The transfer portal seems to be pulling things the other way. It's in the news now. A lot of coaches may be pushing towards, hey, gosh, can we push back the signing period? Can we change the calendar to accommodate what is now the most disruptive thing in college football, which is the transfer portal? I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm just saying it's disrupted the all of our processes, from those that leave teams in the middle of the season, even after 4 games, and now are taking visits during the season. That's disruptive. To, I don't know, there's a span of 2 weeks since the end of the year that somewhere between 300 and 350 guys jumped in the portal in a short period of time. That's a lot of human beings in no man's land. So how do we handle that? Not to mention the COVID year, which the NCAA did the right thing, giving everybody a year back from 2020. But now you've got a whole bunch of people that would normally be done in college football have an extra year, and a lot of those guys are in the portal. And the hard part is all coaches still have 25 scholarships per year. So now something's got to give. There are going to be a lot of college football players that will not be playing college football, in my opinion, in the 22-20 season, or they might be at a lower level than maybe their talent says they should be. Or the flip side is going to happen, where there are a lot of high school people that would normally join a Division I football program that may run out of spots because people will try to do what has been done multiple places around the country. Michigan State famously also, by taking a whole bunch of grad transfers, and you kind of take away from your initials. So there are a lot of things that are competing right now, and I don't have any answers to them necessarily, other than to recognize that it is an issue that is going to have to be dealt with. Now, selfishly, The transfer portal for undergraduates has not been an issue for us. We haven't lost very many, and we haven't added any. We've given the transfer portal multiple graduate transfers, which I think is fine. We've been able to now take a couple. Thankfully, Isaiah Sanders did an unbelievable job for us over the last 2 years, and we'll see what happens in the future for us there. But yeah, these are problems that are not going to be solved in the next month. It's really going to be, in my opinion, the next year and a half, and we're going to have to make some big decisions as a college football world. I'm not saying as the NCAA, I'm saying as a college football world, because the student athletes are going to have a say in what we do, as they should. And there are a lot of competing things going on right now. And there's no secret, I think that's the reason why the hiring cycle is now different. Coaches are getting fired earlier and they're getting hired earlier. And part of it is because early signing periods and early and these transfer ports. So there are a lot of moving parts right now. But my guess is within 2 years, we're going to have some serious answers. Not that this will collapse in any way, but that eventually, I believe it's going to affect what happens on the field. Eventually, it could take some things away from this game that we love if we're not structured properly, both in our calendar and how we handle, and in my opinion, to a certain degree, put some parameters around the transfer portal. We're going to have to do those things in order for us to keep this great game that we love the way that we love it.
Jackson Moore, you're up next. Go ahead.
Coach, you touched on that outside linebacker group, but David Bailey seems to be getting the most publicity or the press of this group. Could you spotlight him individually and what the game plan might be for him in your program?
Well, first of all, I'm excited about all three of those guys. I think they all give us something different, and we'll have very great roles for those guys that they're going to grow into. David Bailey, right off the bat, is a game changer. His quickness, his acceleration from the snap, I think is pretty rare. His ability to dip and rip around the edge. You see it game after game, play after play. But then also, so many guys are just pass rushers, but you see this young man in coverage, and he can run with those big, fast tight ends. He can run with running backs out of the backfield. I was able to see him play in a game earlier this year against Servite, and he was everywhere. Multiple hits on the quarterback, multiple sacks, multiple TFLs, and then multiple great plays in coverage where, you could see obviously they tried to isolate a running back on him, and there's no way to throw the ball. Really excited to see his impact. He's another one of those guys that's going to enroll early and get to work with us in January.
Go over to Ben Parker. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah. Hey, I want to get your thoughts, Coach, on CJ Hawkins, the tight end who was at Florida, flipped to you guys. 2 questions on him. A, what do you expect from him on the football side as a tight end? And then secondly, I know there's been some speculation from him about possibly playing basketball. Just kind of what's your approach about guys playing 2 sports? Have you had any conversations with him or the basketball staff about him possibly playing both? Just what's your message on both the hoop side and also the football side, what you expect to see from him at that position?
Sure. First of all, I don't think I know in my heart that this is the best tight end class in America. Whether it's viewed by that from the outside world, I'm not really sure. I think when the different websites do that deal where they say, hey, let's look back at 5 years ago and re-rank these guys, I think that's what's going to happen, because I think Sam Roush is a college football ready tight end. He's walking in the door at 250 pounds, a lean 250. He's another early enrollee that he's going to want to come in and play, and he's going to have that opportunity. I'm excited about what he's going to bring. And CJ is that kind of untapped potential. One of my former teammates, Andre Kerwin, it's just that we've played together, known each other for a long time. He's the one that first sent me video of him playing basketball. So watched him play basketball, went back and watched some and said, man, this guy could be a great tight end, but we all say that about basketball players. They could. And then he started to play football. And what I love about his film, different than most basketball players, he was a physical blocker. right? A physical blocker, very physical. Getting after it, trying to get pancakes, trying to knock guys down on the ground. That was fun to watch. And then you see him take off in the open space, as big and as long as he is, making big plays and making big catches down the field, and being what we love our tight ends to be, which is a big time red zone threat. And the coaches didn't do it all the time. I don't think they needed to. They had a good football team with good players around them. But I don't know if there's anybody in high school football in the country that would stop this guy inside the 10-yard line. He's got a chance to be special. I think that both of them have the chance to be special. Now, on the multi-sport side, so I'm sitting here as a guy that had some great college coaches that allowed me to play 3 sports. So I wouldn't stand in the way of someone who's got the ability to play 2. But it's one of those things where you need him to come in and be a football player for us and learn what to do on the football side. He's got a great frame, but it's going to take some work in the weight room to fill that frame out. So we have some expectations on the football side. Once the football side is taken care of and we're comfortable with where he is, and he and I have had this conversation, if that opportunity from the basketball program is there, then we will explore that opportunity. I'm the biggest Stanford guy you're going to find. So if I have somebody that can help the basketball team, help the baseball team, help the track team, I'm gonna not only allow it, I'm gonna promote it. But at the same time, that's a competitive situation. So would not be open to that if he's not going to contribute. If he can't contribute, then hey, he's a football player. If he can contribute and help the team win, hey, I'm all for it.
We'll go back to Jackson. Go ahead.
I had 2 questions, coaches. Scotty Edwards on track to join the team with this group?
Yes. We're excited about that, about his return.
And along those lines, is there a sense of what is still left for this class? If you have plans to sign more in February, or what the next step is?
There is that potential. For a minimal signee or 2 in February.
We'll go back to Els Boone. Go ahead, Els.
Coach, this is something you alluded to in your opening statement, but this class wasn't allowed to take visits till June 1st because of the pandemic. Once those visits were allowed again, how much did that help you guys? And then what did you and your staff learn from this cycle of combining both the virtual visits and the actual visits that you'll take with you into the future?
Yeah, we were all in uncharted waters not too long ago. And a lot of credit to Mike Eubanks and his staff for our process of not just having Zooms, but creating videos and a way to entice people to come visit. The previous class, it was the only visit. But we were able to, with this group, get them a lot of the Stanford feel through phones and tablets and computers to entice them to come visit, but then also set up a mechanism to where they had to reach some academic threshold for us as well to come on that visit. That's really what made that valuable for us and for the student athletes. They got an opportunity to come see Stanford, but they had some previous virtual background and able to see it live. We were able to get them to progress academically in order to the point where they were not just viable, but actual candidates for us academically to get to be enrolled. And I think that sped up our entire process to where when these guys had a chance to visit, they were already halfway down the road with their application process, finished the applications, and the high percentage of these guys being admitted, by the end of the summer, going into the early fall. And that helped this class completely come together, that process of enticing them with our Zoom meetings, our videos, our interactions, getting them around campus virtually, and then getting them to do the academic work to get them on that actual visit to see this unbelievable place with their own eyes. That process is the reason why we signed the top class in the Pac-12 today.
Any final questions for Coach Shaw? All right, everyone. Thanks for joining. Appreciate the time and happy holidays if we don't chat before then.